Yang mana nih? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce myself. My name is Debbie Citradewi. I'm as the public relation from branch IKPI Jakarta Selatan. And today we have the event English Club IKPI Jakarta Selatan season 3. We want to share about the how to understand texturity in a modest way. We have the speaker, Miss Lily Ciptadewi. She is the consultant and he have the experience about this, about the how to understand texturity in modest way. And as you know about the transaction cross-border and between two countries, we must to understand how uh, to understand texturity regulation guidance. So Miss Lily want to share. He have the experience about this. And before we begin, we start with the listening Indonesia Raya and Max IKPI. Now, wait a moment. And Max IKPI.
Ikatan Konsultan Pajak Indonesia, wadah kita bersama, berkarya bekerja dengan profesional untuk usaha bangsa. Profesi integritas diri, bisa
Okay. Before we hear speaker Miss Lili Cipta Dewi, we listen opening speaker from Mr. Sahata Edi Situmorang. He is the leader from IKPI Jakarta Selatan. Please, Mr. Sahata.
Thank you, Ms. Devi. My sound is clear?
Is clear, Mr.
Yeah,
Sahata.
okay. Thank you. So, welcome for our audience for English Club today. So this is our program, monthly program to practice our English, because as we know that IKPI is a Association of Tech Consultant that we want to achieve the global standard, which we have to use English. And then this is the chance for us to practice our English with our program in South Jakarta. So thank you for joining us, and then let's us to learn together and practice, because language, if you don't practice, then you forgot it. So this is the way we try to practice it, so we can have a English in good speaking or understanding, and then we can practice it when we do service our client. And thank you for Ibu Lili for giving us a chance to learn. Especially, we know that Ibu Lili is before is joined the Pricewaterhouse consultant, so we know that we can share the knowledge and then the experience with the international client, especially multinational company. So let's join and then we learn together. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sata, for your opening speaking. And yeah, today we learn to practice our English, and not charges in this forum, and don't be shy you to practice your English. And yeah, as Mr. Sata said, to we improve our with English, we can to service our client, especially international taxation or multinational company. And so we move to Miss Lily to share. She is the have the material how to understand tax treaty and modest way. Come, please, Miss Lily.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Debbie, for the opening and also for introduction that you made, and also to Pak Sahata, thank you for the opening speech. Yeah, tonight we actually want to discuss about how to understand tax treaty in a modest way. Yeah. So what we are discussing here is not about like what is, for example, my experience in this tax treaty, but basically this is how to understand tax treaty as if we are a baby. Yeah. So I will try to make this difficult case become very easy to understand. That is my purpose. So actually we will not answer everything. I mean, not answer everything, like for example, the very fancy transaction like that. It is not the purpose of this discussion, but I would like everybody to understand about the basic one. Once you understand the basic and the treaty, you don't have any problem. You can just read it and you can understand it. Yeah, okay? That is actually
Okay.
actually what you will get. Yeah, and also about the other things that because we are English club, then hopefully you can also learn about the term in English. Okay? Okay, let's start. Allow me to off my camera in order that I can have a better signal maybe. Yeah, better connection. So I will stop my camera. Then I will share screen. Share this one. Do you see my screen already?
Yes,
Yes,
already
okay.
see.
Okay. So the title is How to Understand Tax Treaty in a Modest Way. I want to explain about how to understand it from the basic. So anytime you see the tax treaty, whether it is Indonesia, Singapore, Indonesia, Netherlands, you don't have to be worried because the pattern are the same. Yeah. So we are understanding that. That's more important. Okay, so what we will discuss are, the first one is what is tax treaty and why there is double taxation, model tax treaties, coverage of the tax treaty provision, facility and benefits, procedure for treaty relief, and case study. Case study is very simple actually. What is tax treaty? Tax treaty is an agreement, yeah, between two countries, the purpose of which is to avoid the double imposition of tax on the same object and the same tax subject. Yeah, so with the tax treaty, we can avoid this double taxation. That is the purpose of the treaty. Why? Why? That there will be double taxation. For example, a Singaporean do business in Indonesia. Singapore will tax him because he is a Singapore citizen. Indonesia will also impose tax on him. Because why? Because he is doing business in Indonesia. Indonesia has a right to also tax him. So in this case, the same person will be taxed double in Indonesia as well as in Singapore. Yeah. So basically what I write here is that a tax subject is considered as a domestic resident taxpayer in both countries. So for Singapore, for example, he is considered as resident taxpayer in Singapore. For Indonesia, because you are here in Indonesia for a certain period, we also, based on our Indonesian law, he also be considered as a resident taxpayer of Indonesia. So one person become resident in two countries want to tax him. Yeah, that is the cause of the double taxation. And then another one, a taxpayer income. So if my example, I continue. So he is a Singaporean, but he will pay tax in Singapore, but he receives income from Indonesia. And there are two things to consider this one, yeah. So the second one is a taxpayer income is taxed in the country of income source. Let's say that he receives interest from Indonesia. Yeah, when we pay interest to him, Indonesia is actually the country of source of the income. The Indonesia will withhold tax. And Singapore will still ask him to pay tax also from the income which is from Indonesia. Yeah, because in each country, this is actually the contradiction. Each country is entitled to impose tax in accordance with its domestic tax regulations. Okay, this is the cause of the double taxation. Another cause of double taxation is the conflict between domicile principle and the source principle. The example I have already explained earlier. And then also different meaning of residence that also could cause a double taxation. And then source of income, and then this is actually the same, it's only different term. Yeah. Another one is, for example, like Indonesia. Yeah, Indonesia, if you see like the number 2 from below, it's mentioned that Indonesia, for example, impose tax on its resident taxpayer on their worldwide income. So if we are Indonesian, of course we are Indonesian, then we have income from other countries, even though the income is received, for example, in Netherlands or in any other countries, you have a house, let's say in the Netherlands, and you rent the house, it will be taxable in the Netherlands. But Indonesia, because we are adopting the worldwide income concept, so any resident taxpayer is taxed on his worldwide income, then there will be double taxation as well. Okay? So the source country impose tax, and also the house, the home country also impose tax. That is double. Yeah, so like we already mentioned earlier, the purpose of a tax treaty is to avoid double taxation. Yeah. Now, so we all understand already, yeah, that the intention of have a tax treaty is to avoid double taxation. Now, we have a contract, for example, not a contract, a treaty between Indonesia and Singapore. We have a treaty between Indonesia and Malaysia. We have a treaty between Indonesia and Netherlands, let's say like that, with UK, with Japan. Yeah, we have a treaty. So each treaty actually have follow certain model. Yeah, so for example, Article 1, it will be talking about definition. Article 2 talking about what? Article 5 talking about definition of permanent establishment, let's say. Article 7 will be on business profit. That is the way the treaty is written. Yeah, so there are actually two model treaties that can be found. The first one is a United Nations model. The other one is the OECD model, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. These two models basically contain similar things, but different focus. Yeah, but it's similar. But this is only for understanding that actually everybody, each country, when they want to negotiate about treaty, I want to have a treaty with Cambodia. Let's say make a treaty with whatever country, for example, with Hong Kong, for example, we have already now, but at that time, we have to agree from the sample first, the template first. So move actually after discussion, then we will change bit by bit to follow what is I agree, what is the other countries agree. Yeah, but the basic model, the basic concept are the same. This is what I want to change, because many people think, oh, treaty is difficult. It's not correct. Yeah, as long as you understand what is the scope of the treaty, then it will be easy for you to understand. The first one, the summary of the convention. Convention is just use the convention term, but actually this is the same treaty. The first one is scope of the convention. Yeah, so if you, for example, open any treaty, the chapter 1, it will talking about the scope of the agreement, scope of the convention. Sometimes using conventions, sometimes using agreement. The first one is what is the text covered, what is that? Yes, scope of the agreement, personal scope, and then what is the text cover. Usually, the text is covered, Article 2, is on income tax. So if we are talking about treaty, we are talking about income tax. Only one treaty that I know that also a bit talking about VAT, which is with Korea. Other than that, usually it's only income tax. Yeah. Chapter 2 is talking about definition. Article 3, general definition. Article 4 is give definition on what is the resident. Article 5 on the permanent establishment. And then chapter 3, taxation on income. Yeah, we are talking Article 6 about income from immovable property. If you go to any treaty, for example, you want to know, somebody asks, I want to rent whatever, yeah. I want to have like a plantation in Indonesia. What is the treaty between Indonesia and Malaysia about plantation? plantation is immovable property. Look to the Article 6. Yeah, that is the way how you have to use the treaty. So you understand first what is in there. Yeah. Another one is the business profit. There is about talking about permanent establishment. So business profit will always be linked to Article 5 because Article 5 is talking about permanent establishment. Article 7, business profit, is actually how to tax a permanent establishment. Yeah. And then this is, you can read one by one. Usually, treaty is talking about, there are two main things here in treaty. The first one is active income. The other one is passive income. Yeah. Active income will be taxed in Indonesia. For example, there is a foreign company doing business in Indonesia will be taxed in Indonesia if they have a permanent establishment in Indonesia. Okay? But if they don't do the active income, they don't do business in Indonesia, they also will be taxed in Indonesia if they receive income from Indonesia. This is what we are mentioning earlier about income based on source. Yeah, because the source is Indonesia. What are those income that is taxed in Indonesia even though they are not having a permanent establishment in Indonesia? They are Article 10, 11, 12, 13. This is all talking about the passive income. Yeah, if, for example, a Singapore company have a PT in Indonesia, private limited liability company in Indonesia, then if we pay dividend to them, then we will do the withholding tax. Yeah, so Article 10, Article 11, Article 12, dividend, interest, royalty, they are talking about the passive income. Mostly in our case, day by day, we are talking only about these articles. Yeah, whether it's passive income or whether this is active income. Active income, you refer to the permanent establishment. Then how to tax, refer to the Article 7, business profit. But if you are talking about the passive income, like dividend, interest, royalties, then it is regulated in different article. Yeah. Another one, income from employment, director's fee, artists, and athlete. This is only one time they receive, but there is a regulation on the treaty itself. Yeah. Okay, then we go to the next slide. This is the taxation on capital. Chapter 5, elimination of double taxation. Yeah, exemption method and credit method. Okay, this one is like this. We mentioned from the beginning that tax treaty, the purpose is to avoid double taxation. All right? If avoid double taxation, then there should be a way how to avoid the double taxation. The first method is actually the exemption. So, for example, if Hong Kong, for example, receive income from Indonesia, yeah, Hong Kong company do business and receive income from Indonesia, then Indonesia, tunggu ngomong bicara, yeah, okay. If Hong Kong, for example, receive income from Indonesia, based on the treaty, Hong Kong will apply the exemption method. They will not ask Indonesia to, they will not ask the Hong Kong company to also pay tax on income which is from Indonesia. That is the first method. Yeah, so they exempted. If it is already tax in the other country, then you don't have to pay tax in Hong Kong, something like that. That's the first possibility. The second possibility is the credit method. So if, for example, Indonesia withhold tax on this, then you can have this withholding as a prepaid tax in Hong Kong. Yeah, for example, they receive interest from Indonesia. We do withhold tax on interest. Article 26, yeah, always 20%, except the tax treaty can reduce it. Let's say 20%. Then this tax paid in Indonesia can be considered as a credit in their countries. So they're still receiving, they're still reporting the income received from Indonesia, but the tax paid in Indonesia can be considered as prepaid taxes. Yeah, so this is the way how to avoid the double taxation. Basically, there are two ways to do it. And then the other chapter 6 is the mutual agreement procedure. This is maybe in other cases we will discuss, yeah, because what I like from the beginning, I explained that we want to learn a treaty like a baby. Yeah, so this one is not yet for baby. Now, for us, in order that to treat the to learn the tax treaty, yeah, what is important? Only this article. Okay, I'm not saying that you don't have to understand the other. No, but from day to day work daily, this is only those which is important for us. Yeah, like I've already explained earlier actually. Article 5 on the permanent establishment, for example, like somebody doing services in Indonesia, whether it's subject to BUT, permanent establishment or not, yeah. And then the business profit, because it's like like a link to the permanent establishment. If there is a permanent establishment, then there is business profit that you have to consider how to tax, yeah. And then shipping and air transport, that's also a lot. Dividend, that's a lot. Interest, I still mention here bunga, yeah, interest, not flower. And then royalties, capital gains, and income from work. Tax treaty regulates what? Yeah, what is regulated by the tax treaty? Tax treaty actually give a talking about the taxing right. Yeah, talking about the taxing right. So for several income, whether Indonesia has the right to tax or the other country has the right to tax. For example, a Singapore company, for example, providing services in Indonesia, they come to Indonesia for 30 days, only 30 days. Indonesia want to tax because they are doing the business in Indonesia. Singapore said, it is my citizen. It should be pay tax in Singapore, right? In that situation, the tax treaty between Indonesia and Singapore will give definition. And in the definition of the tax treaty about this one, this is doing business. So meaning it's active income, right? So you have to go to the Article 5. In the Article 5, it's mentioned that for Singaporean come to Indonesia doing business, doing services, providing services, for example, for a period less than 90 days, then there is no treaty. There is no permanent establishment. More than 90 days, have a permanent establishment. Why it's important to determine whether there is a permanent establishment there or not? Because if there is a permanent establishment in Indonesia, then Indonesia has the right to tax. If there is no permanent establishment in Indonesia, Indonesia has no right to tax, and it will be Singapore who tax this income, this active income. Yeah, so the permanent establishment definition will define who has the right to tax. Okay, that's what that, yeah, the taxing right. And then the method to avoid double taxation, I've already explained just now about exemption or credit method. And then determination of permanent establishment, this one is linked to the taxing right that we explained earlier, yeah. This one, the exemption method and credit method. Exemption method is clear, yeah, that the income generated overseas already taxed in the other countries doesn't have to be taxed in the domicile country. That is the exemption. For the credit, the tax paid overseas can be considered as tax credit in Indonesia, for example, yeah, like that. How much is the credit, whether in full or in the proportional, like that. Indonesia, I think Article 24 adopt the proportional, yeah. Nah, this is also important in the treaty. Mana hal-hal. Okay, important in Indonesia is actually those things which is specially regulated in the tax treaty. This is that I've already mentioned earlier, the important article. This is those important article. Now, we are talking about permanent establishment in Indonesian income tax law. Yeah, so there are the two definitions. When we are talking about tax treaty, we have to think about three things. Yeah, the first one, Indonesian tax law says what, tax treaty says what. Actually, only two, because the other country, the counterpart, we don't care. Yeah, because from us, it is important Indonesia and what is say in the treaty. Now we are talking about Indonesia first, yeah, Indonesia income tax law. It mentioned that permanent establishment shall be the business entity, yeah, used by individuals not domiciled in Indonesia or living in Indonesia for not more than 183 days within a 12-month period, or a statutory bodies not established or domiciled in Indonesia in order to carry on business or activities in Indonesia, which may be in the form of this or the lease, yeah, place of management, a branch, a representative office, an office building, factory. You can see all of this here is actually those can be considered as permanent establishment in Indonesia. So in short, it's actually permanent establishment is institution maybe, yeah, which is used by somebody from the foreign countries to do business in Indonesia. The business could be only a rep office, could be factory, could be workshop, could be warehouse, or an agent or construction, anything. If foreign company or foreign individual doing business in Indonesia, there is a potential, there is a permanent establishment. Okay, following Indonesia law, always permanent establishment there, but you have to look to the definition in the treaty. Yeah, this is the same. Okay, you have to look to the definition, the treaty, what the treaty says. If you are Indonesia regulate one thing, treaty regulate different things. Then who will win? Treaty. Yeah, treaty actually override the domestic rule. That is the rule, yeah, the rule of the game. Treaty override the domestic rule. So for example, this one is in Indonesia tax law, furnishing of services in any form through employee or other personnel for a period aggregating more than 60 days from any 12-month period is already considered as permanent establishment. Okay, but if you look to the tax treaty, for example, what I remember is Singapore, they are talking about 90 days. Yeah, 90 days. In this 90 days, then the treaties regulates that PE will be there only if it is exceed 90 days. Indonesia law says 60 days. So what about Singaporean come to Indonesia, do furnishing of services for 70 days? There will be a PE or not?
Enggak.
Yeah,
Gunting
whether there will be a
gunting
PE or
aku.
not.
Tahu aku dia ada gunting kamar.
Yeah.
Iya, makanya
For above 60 days, from Indonesia point of view, it will be already a PE, right? But because Indonesia law is lost, yeah, or lost. I mean, the treaty will win, override the Indonesian law. The treaty says 90 days become a PE. Indonesia says 60 days enough to become a PE. You are in 70 days. So following treaty, you are not yet having a permanent establishment in Indonesia. Okay? Now, is there any question here? Clear or
Maybe
not clear? Hopefully
is clear.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
maybe you
try
can
to make it
continue your material.
Okay, I try to make it very simple. Hopefully, people can understand this. Okay, let me continue. Taxation of a money establishment. Let's say you already think or agree that based on our definition or the treaty definition, there should be a permanent establishment. Okay, agree. There is a permanent establishment. How to tax? Okay. In Indonesia, permanent establishment is treated in the same way as a resident taxpayer. So a PT company and a BUT, yeah, permanent establishment is treated the same. Both are subject to 20% tax. For example, in corporate tax, both are subject to VAT if they are doing the business which subject to VAT. So everything will be the same. Okay? That is so. So we says here that domestic law is fully applicable for a PE. Now, this is what is interesting. Yeah, PE revenue in Indonesian income tax law. So, PE actually will have to have income first from the PE activities itself. That one is clear, hopefully. Yeah, for example, there is a PE. The PE is actually selling refrigerator in Indonesia. Okay, so any sales made by this PE is considered as income of the PE. Clear? Okay, yeah. Now, if for example, the other company in overseas, for example, this PE come from the US, for example, other company in the US also sell refrigerator. They are not selling it to the PE. They sell it directly to the customer in Indonesia. Let's say I'm the PE of a US company. I sell refrigerator in Indonesia, and not in Indonesia, in Jakarta, because my coverage is only in Jakarta. For example, that is the example. But my parent company in Singapore, in US, sell the refrigerator directly to apa ya yang jauh-jauh, to Irian, for example. Apa ya Irian? Papua, to Papua, because it's too far from Jakarta. So they sell it directly to Papua, let's say like that, or to Bali maybe. Yeah, they are selling exactly the same like my activities here. So this income which is received by our parent will be considered as the PE, even though don't know anything about this one, the PE will be required to report this income received from overseas party. No, income received by the parent company. It will be considered as the PE income. Yeah, this is called, if not mistaken, is force of attraction rule. Yeah, so even though the PE doesn't involve, still considered as income of the PE. That is different with the other PT. PT doesn't have that concept. Yeah. Another thing is that, for example, if the head office, for example, the US parent doing business in Indonesia, not through the PE. Yeah, for example, the PE sell the refrigerator, but the company in the US do other business in Indonesia, not part of the PE, but they ask the PE to sign the contract on behalf of the head office with the customer in Indonesia. For example, our activities is business, apa ya tadi, sell refrigerator, but the US company, the head office, doing business in Indonesia, for example, selling washing machine, for example, which is different. Yeah. For example, like that. Then it will be because I'm as the representative of the PE, also signing document on behalf of our head office for the project that I'm not involved, or they ask me to also do collection for them, then it will be considered effectively connected. So this income of these other activities will also be considered as our income. The concept is called as effectively connected. Yeah. Now the expenses. That is the specialties about the PE. Revenue is like what I explained. Now the expenses. For the expenses, there are also several regulations that we have to understand. Yeah, the first one, the head office cost, which is not related to the PE activities, cannot be charged to Indonesia. Yeah, for example, the head office doing other type of activities which is not related to Indonesia, and they want to, oh, I have to spread this to all over the world, including Indonesia, then it will be treated as non-deductible for the PE. Yeah, because the PE in Indonesia doesn't get any benefit from that spending. Cannot. And then, or I'm using the name of, for example, what is the name here? For example, Nike. I'm using the name of Nike. I'm a representative office, a PE, sorry. Then I'm using the name of Nike, so I have to pay royalty. Cannot. We cannot pay royalty to ourselves because PE and the head office is actually one entity. Yeah, so they are not allowed to pay the royalty. Okay. Or the head office will charge us management fee because they are taking care of the business, for example. For the PE, they reviewing the project, they are introducing customer and everything. So the head office will charge to us the management fee. That also not allowed because between PE and the head office is one entity. We cannot charge our own self. Yeah. Another one is interest paid to head office that also not allowed. Yeah, for example, like the head office giving us money and then charge interest. That interest is non-deductible. Yeah, except if you are in the banking business. In banking business, the business of each party is actually lending money, so interest is possible. Okay, that is for the PE. Should we stop here or continue because it's 7:45?
We maybe we continue. Yeah,
Continue?
Miss
Okay.
Lily. Yeah, but I see the chat room and Mr. Subhan said maybe he don't understand your explanation. Maybe
On
Mr. Subhan want to ask where is you said no, madam. Where is your need more explanation from Miss Lily, Mr. Subhan?
Yes, if there are any
Hello.
question, I would be happy to take any question.
No, Miss Debbie, it's about no, ma'am, is lanjut.
Ah, okay. So you
That's
mean
the
don't
question.
have to stop, just continue like that,
Ma'am.
right? Okay, okay,
Yes.
okay, okay. I will
Okay.
continue,
Okay,
yeah.
Miss Lily.
Okay, there. I will continue share my screen. Anyone can stop me
Okay, you
anytime.
can continue, Miss Lily.
Yeah. Okay, you can stop me anytime. I will stop. Yeah. Otherwise, will just like train and continue. Yeah. Okay. Interest. Now the second one. Okay. So we are talking about. Let me repeat a bit. Yeah. If we are talking about permanent establishment, we are talking about active income, active business activities. Yeah. Now interest. Now we are talking about the passive income. Interest. Interest is actually the foreign company will receive interest if we borrow money from them. Yeah, so they will receive interest. Based on Indonesia income tax law in Article 26, that we will have to pay withholding tax at rate of 20% anytime we pay interest to the lender overseas. That's clear. Yeah. And but in the treaty, it mentioned that the treaty, for example, it depends on which country. Sometimes the withholding tax on interest will be lower. Could be 5, could be 10, could be 15%, lower than 20%. Then because treaty supersede the domestic law, then we will have to follow the treaty rate. Okay, so if it is 20, then we have to reduce it. Based on Indonesia, always 20, Article 26, yeah, that we are talking, always 20%. But when we check, for example, I will pay interest to Canada, for example. What is the withholding tax rate? So first, in our mind, is 20%. Okay, but the second thing that we have to check, whether there is a treaty between Indonesia and Canada. How to check whether there is a treaty or not? Just go to the Director General of Taxes website. In there is a treaty and there is also a copy of the treaty in there. So you can check, is there any Canada? Oh yeah, Canada. Then go to the article on interest. Look at that article, what is the rate? Let me see, yeah. Okay, let me stop share. I will share different things. Yeah. Oh, this one. Yeah, you see my screen? This is the Director General of Taxes website. So I choose, for example, Denmark. Yeah,
Yeah.
Denmark. You see, there is a copy of the treaty. Article 1,
Yeah.
Article 2, Article 3. Yeah. Now interest. Interest, we always remember what articles is interest. Yeah. Then we have to look to this one. Interest, article this commission region. Oh yeah, you see this a lot of like, for example, in kotak, what you call it, the kotak, yeah. This is just given like this one within bracket like this, yeah. This is actually MLI. We are not talking about MLI because MLI is a modification of the treaty. What we want to learn tonight is actually about the treaty itself. Once you understand the treaty, then MLI is different things that you have to understand. That may be like this one, yeah, for example. Okay, this one, the business profit, Article 7, shipping and dividend is Article 10. Now we are talking about interest. Interest is Article 11. Yeah, almost all treaty at the same article. Yeah, maybe, yeah, one Article 10 or 12 maybe, but it's always in there. Yeah. So the interest, this is mentioning. Let's read together. Yeah. Let's read together. This one, interest arising in a contracting state. So contracting state is Indonesia, yeah, and paid to a resident of the other contracting state. In my example, this is what country, yeah? Denmark, yeah. The resident of Denmark then may be taxed in that other state. So it mentioned like this in Bahasa Indonesia, yeah. I speak in bahasa first ya, Bu Debi, my apology. Jadi, bunga yang berasal dari Indonesia dan dibayarkan ke Denmark akan dipajaki di Denmark. Ini arti dari paragraf 1. Okay. Now paragraph 2. However, namun demikian, such interest, bunga itu can also be taxed in the contracting state in which it arises. Bisa juga dipajaki di contracting state, which is Indonesia, di mana dia berasal, dia muncul. Okay, and according to the law of the state. But if the recipient berarti penerima kan, the recipient of the interest tadi itu ya, is the beneficial owner of the interest. So it is a Denmark then entitled to receive the interest. The tax surcharge shall not exceed 10%. This is 10%. So if we want to pay interest to Denmark, then the rate is no longer 20%, but become 10%. That is about how to interpret the treaty in this situation. Okay? Clear, yeah? So I stop share. I continue to my slide. Lagi bentar. Cari. Okay. Yeah. So in this one, 10-20%. But if you see the Article 11 of the treaty, I just took one example is Denmark. Then it mentioned 10%. So we follow 10%. Yeah. And the second, the other things that I want to discuss is on the royalty. The royalty is actually compensation in connection with the use of the right to use intangible asset. Intangible asset berarti harta tidak berwujud such as copyright, patent, trademarks, formulas, or corporate secrets. Yeah. This is considered as royalty, and also right to intangible assets such as right to industrial, commercial, and scientific equipment. And then the third one is information, especially information which is not yet disclosed or patented to the public, such as experience in the industrial or other business fields. For information that is already available, the owner no longer need to conduct research to produce the information. Yeah. Royalties are taxed at source. This is the general understanding. Royalties are taxed at source. So meaning that if we are the one who pay royalty to other countries, then Indonesia has the right to tax because the source of the income is from Indonesia. Yeah. In this situation, what you have to read this is the language is not easy to understand. But if you see the word, this one, yeah, see the word equipment, this one. Then if somebody asks, I want to rent I want to rent what, yeah? To rent, I cannot think of any things. For example, I want to rent the simple one, yeah. I want to rent a book, for example, from a commercial equipment, yeah. So I want to rent a photocopy machine, for example, from the other country. Should we follow under this one, right to intangible asset, such as industrial commercial, or information? Then we have to look to this one. If you are talking about equipment, then this is. So if you are talking about using scientific equipment, meaning that you are talking about the rental. Yeah, so if somebody asking about the withholding tax on rental, that is under royalty article. Okay? If somebody asks about, and usually in the treaty, actually different rate. For the first one, compensation, the right to use, co-patent, other things, and then the right to intangible asset and scientific equipment. Yeah, this is usually different rate. Yeah, so the first one is about the patent or intangibles, like a patent, trademarks is all intangible, using name. But if you are talking about, I want to use this helicopter, borrow from Singapore, then there is withholding tax under royalty. Or I want to pay like Kumon, for example, I want to pay doing the business of Kumon or doing business of SAP and other things, that will be under royalty, for example, like that, yeah, the first one. Now, this is something about technical services. Technical services is a bit unique. Yeah. Technical services, usually it is active services, right? Technical services is an active services. Usually it will be taxed in Indonesia only if the provider have a permanent establishment in Indonesia. If no permanent establishment, no tax. Yeah. So if like my example again, Singapore, providing technical services to Indonesia, Indonesia will only able to tax if the technical services be conducted in Indonesia exceeding 90 days within 12-month period. Yeah, but if less than that, then Indonesia has no right to tax. But be careful. Several countries, such as Germany, such as Luxembourg, and then India, yeah, they will tax, they give us the right to tax. So if, for example, a German company doing work in Indonesia, very short period, for example, only 1 month, only 2 weeks, then based on this technical services article, then you have the right to tax. And I mean, not you. Indonesia has the right to tax. Okay? So this is technical services. Please see, because sometimes this is hidden in the article royalty. So be careful with this one. Yeah. What I remember is India, Switzerland, Germany, Luxembourg have these technical services which can be taxed in Indonesia without checking whether they have a permanent establishment or not. Yeah, be careful with this one. Now, dividend is very normal. It's also tax at source. Indonesia has the right to tax and impose profit after income tax. Okay, this one is a normal, yeah. So after you pay, you have the revenue, you have the expenses, you have the profit. You are a PT company, then profit, yeah, and then you pay tax on profit, and then you have income after tax. Then you distribute to your parent company overseas. That is the dividend. There is a withholding tax of 20% based on Article 26. But again, you have to look to the treaty. The rate could be different. Yeah. In the treaty, in the Article 10, then the rate could be lower. For example, I'm reading this one. I'm reading the tax treaty with Denmark. They also mention about 10%. Yeah, if the parent company own at least 25% of the PT company share. If less than 25%, then it's subject to normal, like Indonesia, 20%. Okay. Another one is the PE, the branch profit tax. Yeah, the branch profit tax is similar, very similar to dividend. Branch profit tax meaning permanent establishment have revenue, have expenses, have profit before tax, and then you pay corporate tax, then you have profit after tax, then this subject to branch profit tax, what we call in permanent establishment branch profit tax is actually very similar to dividend in a PT company. Yeah, there is a withholding tax on the branch profit tax as well that you have to consider. Okay, that's all that I want to explain. This is X Ltd, a company domiciled in Australia, render technical fee to a customer in Indonesia. XYZ has a presence in Indonesia for a period of 3 months within a 12-month period. Is the fee subject to tax in Indonesia? Yes or no? Yeah. Will the answer be different if the service provider is a German company? Yeah. So I will show you, I will stop share. Then I will show you the tax treaty between Indonesia and Australia. Or just using not Australia. Oh, yeah, Australia. Okay, I have the Australian. What moment? Oke. Mana ini saya? Zoom. Oke, share screen. Share screen mana Australia ya? Ini kali. Yeah, this is Australia ya. You see the flag, Australian flag. You see here, my question is actually XYZ, a company domiciled in Australia, render technical fee to a customer in Indonesia for a period of 3 months. So what he is doing, technical fee, yeah, period 3 months within 12-month period. So we have to look whether there is a permanent establishment or not. This is permanent establishment definition in the Australia. Then what we are talking is about the customer providing technical service. So it's under this one, the furnishing of services. Okay. And it mentioned, see, the period, the requirement is 120 days within any 12-month period. In this case, Australia provided 3 months, which is about 90 days in Indonesia. So is it subject to tax in Indonesia? Oh, okay, the first one, whether there is a permanent establishment in Indonesia. Anyone would like to help me? Read the article in the tax treaty.
Indonesia is a PE.
Yeah, in this one, okay. The case is that Australia come to Indonesia for 3 months within 12-month period. Yeah, they come only 3 months. Now, the requirement to have a PE if more than 120 days. We are only 90 days, so we are exit or not of the 120 days.
Not exit.
Not exit, right? Yeah. We are not exceeding the time test. This is what we call, oh, what is the time test? What is the time test? Always people like that. What is the time test? Now, the time test for Indonesia, Australia is 120 days. Now, this Australian company come to Indonesia only for 90 days. So it's under the time test. So there is no PE. If there is no PE in Indonesia, Indonesia has no taxing right. Meaning that we cannot tax this Australian company. Because there is no PE, this is active income, then we cannot tax them. Yeah, my question is, will be the answer? Yeah, my next question. So I stop share. This Australia cukup ya, saya tutup ya. Okay. Now, tunggu sebentar. Share again. This one. Okay, the case study. Now, my question is, will the answer be different if the service provider is a Germany company, a company in German, a German company? Yeah, let me go to this one. Oh, salah. Stop share dulu. Oke, sekarang saya share lagi. Oke, tunggu ya, saya share. Oh iya, iya. Ini share mana yang mau di-share sebentar. Ini kali. Oke. Oke. Kelihatan ya layar saya ya? Direktorat Jenderal Pajak ada nggak?
Ya, kelihatan, Bu.
Okay, okay. This is Director General Pajak. Go to the here, and then we go to international. Okay. Oh, go international and go to the tax treaty. And we want to check because my question is on Germany, so we are check the German. German. This is a very simple one. This is how to understand very simple one. Jerman nulisnya gimana ya? Kok nggak ada ya? Denmark, Finland, Jerman. Oh, di sini, Jerman. Okay, this is the Germany. Jerman, kita lihat ya, what is the difference? The first one, Article 1, like I mentioned, personal scope. Article 2, taxes covered. Article 3, general definition. Article 4, definition of resident. And then Article 5 on permanent establishment. If you are checking here, if you still remember, in Australia there is mentioned furnishing of service as long as it is more than 120 days within any 12-month period. If you are looking to this one, there is no definition of services in German. Yeah, so as if service is cannot cause a PE, but how to tax it? Then you have to look to the article. It is income for immovable, Article 6, Article 7, business profit, which is tax for PE. And then Article 8 on shipping and transport, Article 9 associated enterprise, 10 dividend, 11 interest. This one, royalties and fees for technical services. So if you are reading this one, there is no definition on how many days they have to spend in Indonesia. Yeah, as long as they are doing technical services, then Indonesia has right to tax. What is the withholding tax rate? According to Indonesia, everything is 20%. But according to the treaty, for this one, for technical services, is 7.5%. Okay? Clear? Clear or not clear?
Maybe you can repeat explanation again, Miss Lily.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I will try to explain because this is not only for English, yeah, but I want you to understand. I will explain it in bahasa bit by bit, ya, pelan-pelan, ya.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam.
Pertanyaan saya adalah, apakah kan pertama kali kan kita cerita case study. Pertama kali kita bilang, suatu perusahaan di Australia memberikan technical service ke Indonesia. Si Australia ini ada di Indonesia untuk periode 3 bulan dalam waktu 12 bulan, ya. Nah, pertanyaannya adalah, apakah kita boleh majaki si orang Australia ini nih yang datang ke Indonesia 3 bulan untuk memberikan jasa teknik gitu. Nah, karena kita bicaranya soal treaty dengan Australia, tadi Australia benar. Treaty Australia kita udah lihat. Pertama kali kita pergi ke pasal 5. Saya matikan, saya pindah dulu ya ke Australia. Ini Australia bukan ya? Ini ya, kita ulangi ya sebentar. Jangan bosan. Ini apa negara? Ini Denmark, yang Australia mana ya? Tadi saya punya Australia rasanya. Coba saya lihat lagi. Tax Treaty Australia. Ini. Nah, Australia udah kelihatan belum ya? Udah ya?
Udah.
Oke. Nah, kita lihat di Australia ini ada dibilang di sini. Australia itu plantation. Nih, ini. Furnishing of services, ini nih ya, pasal yang ini kita baca-baca. Yaitu pemberian jasa termasuk konsultasi oleh perusahaan dari Australia melalui employee atau melalui orang lain ya untuk periode nih 120 hari dalam waktu 12 bulan. Oke? 120 hari dalam waktu 12 bulan. Nah, sedangkan pertanyaan kita tadi adalah dia cuma 3 bulan di Indonesia, kan nggak sampai 120 hari. Artinya, kita memberikan jasa service ini, jasa technical service ini di Indonesia itu tidak melampaui time test yang 120. Karena tidak melampaui 120 hari, artinya si Australia nggak bikin PE di Indonesia, nggak bikin BUT, nggak bikin permanent establishment. Kalau dia tidak mempunyai permanent establishment di Indonesia, maka kita kan cerita treaty, cerita taxing right. Nah, di situ tidak ada taxing right Indonesia untuk memajaki si perusahaan Australia ini. Jadi kita nggak bisa majaki dia. Gitu, artinya bebas-bebas aja. Ya. Nah, sekarang saya bedakan dengan Jerman. Nah, ini Jerman nih. Oke. Tadi kita udah lihat di definisinya permanent establishment di pasal 5. Itu nggak ada tentang technical service gitu. Nggak ada tentang memberikan jasa teknik. Adanya di pasal 12. Di pasal 12 tentang royalty dan fee for technical services. Di sini dibilang nih, kan kalau tadi kita lihat, kalau inget-inget yang Australia, inget ada time testnya 120 hari dalam waktu 1 tahun atau 12 bulan gitu ya. Nah, kalau di sini di dalam artikel 12 ini coba kita lihat pelan-pelan. Gak ada cerita itu sama sekali. Ini royalty nih. Ini cerita royalty ya, bukan, kita nggak cerita royalty kan. Ya, in case of royalties. Nah, bukan. In case of royalties, paragraf 2 subparagraf A nih. Paragraf 2 tadi saya sempat ngomong juga. Paragraf 2 subparagraf A nih. The use of the right to use copyright segala macam. Nah, ini yang paten-patenan nih. Rate-nya adalah 15%. Nih. Paragraf 2 subparagraf A nih. 2 sekalian ya, sekalian. Ini nggak ada hubungannya, tapi saya mau jelasin. Paragraf 2 sub A. Nih, hak-hakan nih, cerita hak-hakan, rate-nya adalah 15%. Oke? Nah, sekarang aku cerita, kita nyewa kapal terbang dari mereka. Nah, ini. The use, pokoknya ingat-ingat nih, ada tulisan equipment nih, scientific equipment. Jadi kalau ada yang nanya, sewa ini dari Jerman berapa ya? Lihat nih, di artikel di royalty ini. Dibilang di sini, rate-nya berapa? B, 10%. B nih. B, 10%. Jelas ya? Paham ya?
Iya.
Ini supaya ingat lah gitu. Jadi diulangi mumpung ketemu pasalnya. Nah, sekarang kita lagi cerita lagi ke yang tadi. Sekarang kan pertanyaan saya, jadi kalau Australia kan kita nggak bisa majakin nih technical service. Sekarang orang Jerman yang datang ke Indonesia sama juga 3 bulan. Nah, dipajaki nggak di Indonesia? Nah, kita lihat nih dalam tax treaty Indonesia-Jerman dikatakan kalau fee for technical service adalah 7,5% dari gross amount of such fees. Ada nggak dia ngomong berapa hari? Nggak ada kan? Nah, berarti kalau udah tax treaty Indonesia-Jerman, ada technical service 1 hari, 2 hari, pajaki langsung. Rate-nya berapa? 7,5%. Gitu. Oke? Itu
Oke.
aja sih ya yang paling penting dalam treaty itu. Satu lagi yang jangan lupa, tapi saya rasa kita nggak perlu bahas karena itu bukan bagian dari treaty. Kalau kita mau menerapkan tax treaty, jangan lupa minta certificate of resident, minta statement dia nggak punya PI dan sebagainya. Ya, biasalah COR, kita kan sering bilang COR. Ya itu dia. Itu yang harus kita lakukan untuk supaya kita bisa menerapkan ketentuan dalam treaty. Kalau misalnya, oke, ini beneran perusahaan Singapura, sumpah deh perusahaan Singapura, nggak ada COR-nya, tetap aja nggak bisa. Ya, so 20% rate will be applied if you cannot prove. Even though you said they are born in Singapore, kantor pajak akan bilang ya terserah deh gitu ya. Still 20% will be applied. But if you have a COR, then the tax office will consider that should be subject to lower tax rate as per the tax treaty. Okay, I'm looking to the question ya. This is a question from Ibu Juniarti ya. How to know the rate
Yeah.
based on the tax treaty? For example, the rate for services from Singapore entity. I've tried to look for the rate in the tax treaty, but I could not find the rate. My friend said the rate was 0% based on treaty. Okay, let me explain. Yeah, this is the basic understanding. So you want to know what is the rate for services from a Singapore entity. Okay, if you are asking about what is the rate, then you are talking about passive income. If you are talking about dividend, then it is correct question. What is the rate for dividend withholding tax? If you are talking about interest, then it is correct. What is the rate for interest? Okay, what is the withholding tax rate on interest? If you are talking about royalty, you also correct. What is the rate for the royalty withholding tax? What is the rate? That is the correct answer. But if you are talking about the services, yeah, your friend could be correct if he or she mentioned 0%, but with condition. So this is not the correct way to see the case. This is what I want you to understand so you can easily understand this whenever you find a case that you have to study, you can do that, yeah? So if you are talking about services, this is active or passive? If you are talking about services, it means passive or active? Activities. Active, yeah? Okay. If it is active, then what you have to think is about whether there is a royalty or whether there is a permanent establishment or not. Okay? Then what you have to look to the Article 5 of the treaty. If you want to know what is the withholding tax on services, you cannot find it. You have to see the Article 5. The Article 5, you see what is in the Article 5, there will be a lot of definition there, what can be considered as permanent establishment. So if you satisfy that one of the requirement there, then there is a permanent establishment, meaning that there is no withholding tax like this, but you have to consider the Singapore to have a PE in Indonesia, then they should be subject to normal corporate tax in Indonesia. Okay, so the answer is not what is the rate, yeah? But if this Singapore doesn't satisfy the permanent establishment, so they don't have a permanent establishment, they don't have BUT in Indonesia, there is no BUT, meaning that the payment is no withholding tax. So your friend answer the 0% is correct if, for example, the services rendered only 1 week, only 2 weeks, so there is no PE of the Singapore entity in Indonesia, then Indonesia has no taxing right. Okay? Ibu Juniarti, can get my explanation clear or not? Hello?
Yeah, Miss Juniati.
Are you there, Bu Juniarti? No, yeah. Maybe
I
also
I hope you can repeat again, Miss. Last one.
Which one? Which one? This one, okay. Saya pakai bahasa Indonesia ya, supaya paham ya. Jadi,
Okay.
ya, bahasa Indonesia. Gini, kan kalau kita bertanya, berapa sih withholding tax atas jasa? Nah, itu pertanyaannya itu nggak tepat. Oke. Tadi di awal sekali saya bilang, jadi ini namanya kita belajar, nggak apa-apa supaya paham. Saya nggak masalah ya. Jadi maksudnya ini, ketika kita bicara treaty, di otak kita langsung dibagi dua. Satu pasif income, satu aktif income. Oke? Kalau kita cerita pasif income, yaitu dividen, royalty, interest, itu semua pasif income. Maka pertanyaan, berapa sih tarif pemotongan pajak atas interest? Berapa sih tarif pemotongan pajak atas interest, bunga, dividen, royalty, berapa sih? Itu pertanyaan cocok. Ada jawabannya di treaty. Ya. Tapi kalau kita cerita mengenai berapa sih tarif pemotongan pajak atas royalti, atas services, nah di situ tidak tepat pertanyaannya. Kenapa? Karena kalau services itu bukan urusan pemotongan pajak. Services itu urusannya active income, apakah ada PI atau nggak ada PI. PI itu BUT ya. Apakah ada BUT atau nggak ada BUT. Kalau ada BUT, maka dia dipajaki seperti wajib pajak dalam negeri. Ini cerita teori ya, kalau praktek nanti kita bisa cerita. Akan dipajaki seperti WP dalam negeri, jadi nggak ada withholding tax-nya. Tapi kalau, nggak ada withholding tax yang kayak gitu, karena dia adalah BUT, sehingga BUT kan diperlakukan sama seperti wajib pajak dalam negeri. Nah, tapi kalau dia itu, misalnya nih contoh yang Ibu Juniarti nih ya, dia memberikan jasanya itu cuma sebentar, cuma 2 minggu. Di tax treaty dibilang pemberian jasa antara Indonesia dan Singapura ya, pemberian jasa melampaui 90 hari bisa menyebabkan adanya BUT. Ini cuma 2 minggu, nggak ada BUT. Kalau nggak ada BUT, Indonesia tidak punya taxing right. Oke, jadi gini, paling gampangnya adalah gini. Kalau kita cerita passive income, anjing saya berisik, maaf. Kedengeran nggak ya?
Enggak.
Mohon maaf ya, mohon maaf. Tapi kalau
Enggak.
nanti kita lagi sibuk. Jadi gini, jadi kalau kita cerita passive income, cerita dividen, cerita royalty, cerita interest, kita tidak melihat berapa lama seseorang itu ada, bahkan nggak pernah ke Indonesia. Orang minjemin uang ke Indonesia, nggak usah datang ke Indonesia. Orang minta kita bayar royalty, dia juga nggak pernah datang ke Indonesia. Gitu ya. Itu ada withholding tax-nya, itu namanya passive income. Tapi begitu cerita active income, Indonesia hanya punya hak untuk memajaki kalau dia itu punya BUT di Indonesia, punya permanent establishment di Indonesia, baru Indonesia punya hak untuk memajakinya. Itu adalah secara teori. Itu bisa dipahami belum?
Oke.
Paham, Madam. Paham.
Oke, paham ya. Oke, sekarang saya agak tingkatkan sedikit. Ya, sekarang prakteknya gimana nih? Gitu. Ada seseorang dari Singapura memberikan jasa kan minimum tuh 90 hari ya. Lewat dari 90 hari sudah ada BUT. Sekarang seseorang melakukan kerjaan di Indonesia 180 hari. Jadi ada BUT dong. Paham nggak? Setuju nggak?
Setuju, karena lewatin time test.
Iya, ya, asik banget. Happy saya. Berarti melewati time test, berarti ada BUT dia. Ya, sekarang dia udah ada BUT, berarti kita bisa nggak sih? Singapura kamu tuh lebih dari time test, jadi saya mau bayar ke kamunya pakai PPh 23 aja, karena kamu kan WP dalam negeri. Nah, kita nggak bisa maksa perusahaan Singapura untuk punya BUT di sini kalau dia nggak mau. Resiko PI ada. Biasanya kan yang paling benar kan dia ditarik ke Indonesia dong, punya PI di sini, punya BUT,
Iya.
gitu. Tapi kenyataannya adalah itu terlalu repot. Yang lagi diperiksa pajak tuh saya, orang Indonesia, bayar ke Singapura. Ternyata orangnya melampaui time test, berarti dia harus punya BUT. Nah, syaratnya pakai PI itu 2, yaitu 1, dia nggak punya BUT, secara teori punya BUT kan, walaupun dia nggak terdaftar. Terus yang kedua, dia punya COR. Nah, anggaplah dia punya COR. Certificate of Resident. Ini benar wajib pajak dari Singapura punya COR. Tapi ketika kita membuktikan, iya dia kurang dari 90 hari, nggak bisa, dia 180 hari di sini. Berarti syarat kedua nggak terpenuhi. Nah, orang pajak biasanya nggak repot dengan bilang, ayo di BUT kan, nggak repot begitu. Orang pajak langsung bilang, Bu, potong aja 20%. Itu, biasanya kayak gitu. Tapi itu adalah, apa ya, practical approach ya, bukan sesuatu yang benar 100% enggak, tapi begitu yang dilakukan oleh orang pajak biasanya. Oke? Mudah-mudahan paham.
Oke,
Udah
so
ya?
many question in chat room, Miss Lily.
Ya, terima
Yang lain
kasih.
udah
Terima
sama.
kasih.
Oke,
Ya.
yang lain-lain sama sih, dari Androni Susanto. Miss Lily greeting from Batam. Wah, jauh banget dari Batam, saya suka makanannya. Thank you so much for your explanation about the treaty for beginners. I would like to ask, let's say, in the tax treaty between Germany and Indonesia, there is no specific provision regarding fees for technical services. In this case, would we refer to the business profit article? Yes. Jadi, does this apply to all cases? There is no specific cover in the treaty. We always no. Okay, the paragraph 1 is correct. Yeah. So, if for example, Okay, actually, you have technical services, not many. Yeah. It's only Germany, Switzerland, India, apa lagi ya? Luxembourg, German. Yeah, I think that have a tax treaty. That have a technical service should be subject to withholding tax already, without talking about the permanent establishment. Yeah. So that one, and then does this apply to all cases? No, not to all cases. So for example, if you have to pay something like for example, you are having like in Batam, golf tournament in Batam, for example. Then the winner got some apa? You will pay them cash, for example. Whether you subject to withholding tax, you have to look who is the winner from which country, whether there is a treaty between Indonesia and the other country, and you have to go to the specific article in the treaty. It is talking about the artist or athlete. Yeah, so
Oh, okay.
there is, but it is not very popular, so I'm not bringing it up here. Yeah, but that's what you have to look. So just look to that one, and you have to, I think what most important, let me share screen for once again. Share screen, this one. Yeah, I think this one, what I want you to master is only this one. This, you can see the summary of the convention, yeah? Okay?
Mhm.
Yeah, so you see the title, person covered, yeah, person covered, taxes covered, taxes always PPH, always income tax, except with Korea, there is the bit on VAT, yeah. There is the definition, there is resident, permanent establishment. So you have to look to this one. Article 5, Article 6 is income from immovable property, yeah. So somebody has a plantation in Indonesia, so their income is income from immovable property. Real estate, business profit, shipping inland. For example, that we want to know that what is the taxation right, what is the tax that we have to pay because we ask somebody to bring our goods from Indonesia to Netherlands, for example. This is the shipping, for example, yeah. This is, we have to look to this one, dividend. So just go through this one, go to this article, then you will get the feeling what is in there. Yeah, so anytime you have a question, the first one, you have a case, the first one you check what is the country, look to the DJP website, whether there is a treaty between Indonesia and that country, see that one, check the content like this one, the dividend, interest, royalty, and you can already think what is in what article it has to be regulated. Okay, that is the way how you can do it. Okay, that is the simple one of the understanding the treaty. Yeah, so after this, then you can start to understand complication. There are a lot of complication. But I think if you understand this one, that's already enough for you to you will progressing. Because when you read, you understand. You have the picture in our mind, that, oh, this must be about this one. Oh, this must be about active income. This must be about passive income. Yeah, so it's easier for you to understand.
Thank you so much, Miss Lily. Clear and understand. Thank you.
Okay, it's our happiness, yeah. I'm happy if you understand, then it's actually the intention of this session. I'm really happy. Okay, this is the next question. How to withhold of Article 26 if company in Indonesia needs translator from Germany and the translator doesn't come to Indonesia. Translator just give the result and the translator doesn't work at a company translator in German. So this is individual, yeah. So the individual di Indonesia, we would like to withhold Article 26 20%, but please look to the treaty between Indonesia and Germany. I think this one is fall under the individual services. This is the Germany. Yeah, this is the Germany capital gain. Udah kelihatan belum ya? Oh, belum ya? Saya belum share ya?
No, yeah, not yet.
Lupa, maaf. Oke, share. Oke, share. Ini kayaknya. Nah, ini ya. Nah, ini kan yang tadi nih, artikel berapa nih, capital gain. Tadi kan kita cerita nih, yang 7,5% ya. Jadi ini Jerman nih, percaya dulu lah ini Jerman. 7,5% capital gain. Nah, ini independent personal service. Jadi ada tuh artikel 14 ya. Kalau kita lihat di yang tadi saya tulis, ada juga sih ya income for employment. Nah, independent personal service di sini income derived by a resident of contracting state. Jadi income yang diterima oleh resident. Jadi kan tadi orang Jerman tuh translator. Sehubungan dengan professional services atau aktivitas lain of independent character. Jadi dia independen, bebas banget nih. Shall be taxable only in German. Unless, kecuali dia punya a fixed base regularly available to him in other contracting state. Kalau tadi contracting state-nya Jerman, other-nya berarti Indonesia. Ya, kalau dia punya fixed base itu tempat yang dia pakai regularly. Tiap kali mau bikin bisnis dia ke sini datang, nge-translate apa segala macam gitu. Tapi kan tadi di contohnya itu nggak pernah datang ya. Udah gitu
Oh.
kalau sekali datang itu melebihi 120 hari nih. Ya, for the purpose of performing activities, dan setahun itu bisa sampai 120 hari. Maka di sini if he has such a fixed base di sini. Kalau dia punya has a fixed base, ya, then income may be taxed by the other state. Ingat other state Indonesia, but only so much is attributable to the fixed base. Jadi untuk menjawab translator nggak pernah datang ke Indonesia, boro-boro punya fixed base. Oke, berarti dia hanya bisa dipajaki di Jerman. Nih, shall be taxable only in that state, kecuali dia punya fixed base. Nah, dia nggak punya fixed base, dia nggak pernah datang ke Indonesia. Berarti dia nggak bisa dipajaki Indonesia, kita nggak punya hak untuk memajaki dia. Tapi lagi-lagi jangan lupa, kalau minta ini, kalau yang kayak gini, minta ke dia certificate of residence. Ya, karena kalau nggak ada, kita ngebuktiinnya gimana? Pertama, kita minta certificate of residence-nya. Oke? Ya, tunggu, stop share. Pertama, kita harus minta certificate of residence-nya. Ya. Kedua, jangan lupa minta kontraknya. Oke? Kalau kita nggak punya kontraknya, kita ngebuktiinnya ke orang pajak gimana dong? Bahwa orangnya nggak pernah datang ke Indonesia, buktiinnya gimana? Di kontraknya nggak ada, kita aja ngaku-ngaku dia nggak pernah datang. Nah, di kontrak itu harus penting. Kontrak itu harus bilang akan melakukan jasa translating dan akan dilakukan di Jerman, tidak akan dilakukan di Indonesia. Lamanya berapa, harganya berapa. Ya, jadi itu penting. Tagihannya juga penting. Tuh.
Thank you, Bu. Clear and understand.
Okay. Bu Lili, thank you for sharing this. I'm about German tax. Can we say there is no PE related to Andika? Betul. Ibu Saila Mayo, is it correct that there is no PE because of services in Germany, but automatically subject to 7.5%? Remember, all the requirement need to be provided, ya. The certificate of residence, something like that. Oke, ini modul presentasi boleh, jadi saya kasih. Kalau jasanya dikerjakan di luar negeri, gimana Bu? Apakah muncul isu PI, misalnya dikerjain di OSI, tapi dikerjain di OSI? Apa nih? Gimana pertanyaannya? Kalau jasanya dikerjakan di luar negeri. Jadi, Pak David Prawira maybe can explain.
Yeah.
Questionnya gimana? Saya kurang menangkap. Jasanya dikerjakan di luar negeri. Oleh siapa? Oleh perusahaan asing? Perusahaan Australia melakukan jasa di Australia gitu?
Mr. David?
Okay. I assume this question is actually we engage an Australian company and the Australian company do services in Australia, not coming to Indonesia. Then there is no permanent establishment. Yeah, so we don't withhold any tax. murni online, iya. We don't withhold any tax, but please ask for the certificate of residence, ya. This one. And then apa benar pemegang visa E33G dari WP luar negeri UK tidak dikenakan PPDS selama tidak menerima penghasilan? Aduh, saya nggak tahu nih. Apa ya
Yang
visa
visa 33.
E33G? Apakah itu visa dinas ya? Visa dinas bukan?
Mungkin ya.
Kalau visa dinas itu
Eh,
biasanya sepanjang tidak punya income lain selain yang urusannya dia itu emang nggak dikenakan pajak. Bahkan meminta NPWP aja nggak bisa. If an Indonesian person live in Indonesia for more than 1 year and do the franchise business in the other country and pay tax there, does he still have to report? Okay, this one is the Indonesian law, which says that somebody in Indonesia, if you are looking to the definition, live in Indonesia for 183 days, then he can be already considered, and he will have to state that intention is not come to Indonesia and want to do overseas, then he can be considered as a non-resident taxpayer of Indonesia. But you need to send a letter to the tax office will confirm. Yeah. Then if he is not a resident taxpayer of Indonesia, then he doesn't have to report his income from overseas in Indonesia, because the NPWP, the tax identification number, will be freeze for certain time until he come back to Indonesia. Mom, when we pay freight charges for shipping to agent in China, in this case must deduct PPH 26. Okay, this one we have to look to the treaty. Yeah, freight charges, you have to look to the treaty. Article 8 don't have a PEE Indonesia. So yeah, shipping is actually a bit complicated. A bit complicated like this. Article 8 says, Article 8 in the treaty, we have a withholding tax on shipping that we have to pay to the shipping agent. If they have a PE, then the withholding tax is very low, only 2.4% if I'm not mistaken, or 1.2% for local, yeah. For foreign, I think 2.32 or 2.4%. But if they don't have a PE, then the rate could be fall under 20%. That is the difficulty of this one. Yeah, I think for this freight charges, maybe if you can give me more information, we can have a look
Discussion,
on this
yeah.
one. Because for shipping is not very straightforward, yeah.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
We must look in translation first and maybe looking the agreement too, yeah.
Yeah, looking to the agreement and also whether there is certain things in there. Yeah, because like for example with Malaysia, there is a discount of 50% of the withholding tax and other things like that. So I want to be careful for answering this one, the agent of China in shipping. I think that's all, yeah. We have answered all the questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe someone here wants to discussion can open mic. But I have the question, Miss Lily. I have the
Okay.
case. So I'm confused because I have the transaction. I mean, we have the brands in Thailand and headquarter in Indonesia. Headquarter Indonesia pay salary employee in Thailand. That is pay from headquarter in Indonesia. That is the, yeah, I remember you mentioned two guidance. We must to know active income or passive income, correct?
Yeah.
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 That's it's the, I asked what about the tax this condition, yeah, transaction, Miss Lily.
Okay. Okay. Let me repeat. So what you have to look, you see this one?
Independent.
My slide? My slide? Not
Yeah.
yet? Udah ya? Okay,
Yeah.
this one. Article
I can
15.
see.
Income from employment.
Okay.
That's what you have to look. Yeah, you go to the Thailand tax treaty, you see income from employment. Usually income from employment which is exercised overseas doesn't have to subject to withholding tax. But please look to that one because there are certain requirements there. Yeah, because they will be subject to tax in Thailand anyway, right?
Mhm.
If Indonesia taxed him and Thailand tax him, they will be double. But please look to this one, to Article 15. Nanti kita diskusi, Mbak Debbie. Ya, after you read,
Okay.
you find the Article 15 of the Thailand, ya,
Uh-huh.
income from employment, then we discuss. Okay?
Okay, Miss Lily. Thank you.
Yeah.
So everyone here, you want to ask with Miss Lily about the tax treaty, or yeah, you said about the baby. Just
Yeah, this is
like
the
the
baby treaty.
maybe
This is the
just
baby treaty.
new beginning, yeah.
Yeah, because I see that many question actually usually if I listening or reading, then I know that the most important is the basic knowledge. Yeah, after you understand this basic knowledge, it's very easy to understand others. So the basic knowledge first, that is the tree, the root for us, then other is actually on top of that one.
Okay, my name is Shrini Bu Lili. I think you know who I am.
Okay,
Pernah
Miss
ketemu
Lily.
kita satu lantai kali.
Yes, correct, Bu Lili.
Maybe
Yeah, I
your
just want to share it about the question
Yeah.
from Mbak Debbie because
Yeah.
the actually iPad from Tiongkok right now, and then the salary partly is from Tiongkok, and I never withhold from Tiongkok because I never come to Tiongkok, and then I just work to I'm just work individual to make I'm work at e-commerce marketing.
Okay.
So that I'm independent employee. That's why I never withhold at Tiongkok. So but the withholding tax I just self-assess to my salary. That's
Yeah.
my experience.
Yeah, that one is correct. Yeah, the difference is like gini, Miss Rini. The difference between Ibu Dewi question and your question. Ibu Dewi talking about somebody individual working in a branch in Thailand. Yeah, so they are
Mhm.
the situation what Ibu
Correct.
Dewi explained is under employment, right? But what you explain is individual service. Individual
Dependent.
independent service.
Mm.
So different article in the treaty. What you are saying is correct. They don't do any withholding on your income and you self-assess. It is correct what you have already done.
Yeah, because exactly I'm hiring by Tiongkok.
Yeah.
And I'm under management Tiongkok, Bu Lili.
Yeah, but they don't do withholding, right? So you have to
Yes.
declare yourself. Yeah, it's correct. It's correct. Maybe similar situation will apply to the Thailand employees as well. But what I am not sure is whether in your case you are not withheld by anyone, so you self-declare, right? But in Ibu Dewi situation, this Thailand person and this employee in Thailand is working for the representative office of a branch office in Thailand. So I
Yeah.
don't know whether the branch office in Thailand, based on the taxation in Thailand, is also imposed withholding tax.
Mm.
That
Okay.
is what we have to check. So we have to look to the treaty. Yeah, what is the treatment? But
Okay.
I believe should not be subject to withholding tax. But this is only my guessing, yeah. So please check and let's discuss.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Bu Lili, I wanna asking about APA. I think it's more than about tax treaty, but it still has connection with APA, Bu Lili.
Mhm.
Beside the individual employee, actually I have a management to like say like Sysmex too. We have a branch affiliate to Tiongkok too, and the tax ministry asked the company in Indonesia to make APA, but we so really mind about that because it's so hard to collect the document, and then until now after 4 years. The APA is still on process, Bu Lily. How to
Yeah.
reject? How could we reject but require from DGP, Bu Lily? Do you have
Oh,
experience about it?
yeah. Actually, APA was popular, and the GT wants to to promote this APA. But in practice, it will require working with both parties, both countries. Yeah, I have no experience in obtaining the APA yet because my client doesn't really interested in APA, especially once we have APA, then we have to follow, right?
Because the company, we push to use APA, Bu. Not we require to use APA, but we push to use, Bu.
Okay. Yeah. No experience. They said it will be faster and something like that, but in fact, it is still takes time. Because one time everybody is just invited to go to the tax office and they give explanation, they give presentation about APA, how it can solve many problems because one is already follow APA, then the tax office will, oh, okay, already APA is a certain percent, okay, they agree like that, yeah. But in order to achieve, then there is a lot of effort to be done. So
Okay.
actually, I want to try, but my client doesn't want, so I cannot do it.
Thank you, Bu Lily.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody here want to ask with Miss Lily? We still have time, maybe. Oh yeah, time is the
8:46 now. Yeah,
Yeah.
if it is clear, it's good. The material, I have no problem. I will share with you. I will send it to Ibu Debbie, so Ibu Debbie can share it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for Miss Lee, your explanation so very clear. Yeah, you give me more knowledge about what is the guidance we must to know about dexterity. The point I get it, the first is that we must to know passive income or active income, and then we're looking independent or something like that. We must to see the dexterity between that country, and don't forget we send us about the from the GT, COR or COD
And the
from
contract also.
our like that. And so appreciate to Miss Lily. You want to continue English club almost every month. We must to get the even English club. Yes. So
Yeah.
very thank you, and thank you for our friend in the IKP Jaksel, Mr. Sahata, and another Miss Varianti here, and I see another Miss Donna, and another I see Mr. Ruston Tambunan tonight is join. Hello,
Wow.
Mr. Ruston, you still here?
Pak Ruston, if I made mistake, please make correction. I didn't know that my teacher is here.
And everyone, I so thank you join for English class tonight. And to be honest, it's the first time I asked the moderator. I was a little bit nervous, because I so please forgive me if I have the fault, my English maybe not too bad, not too good,
Okay,
still
Ibu
dark.
Debbie.
I must improve my English, Miss Lily. I must practice my English because sometimes in my office using the English with communication. And thank you for all join tonight. Don't forget, in July we have the schedule with the different speaker, and so we have the another schedule in about the text also. And see you the next session, and thank you for joining tonight, and bye bye, take care.
Bye. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.